Now, they say all good things come to an end. For years, big tech enjoyed control, quashed competition, basked in the glory of monopoly. But now it may all end, and end very soon. Doors are closing in on tech giants. Standing on the front line are Facebook, Twitter, and Google. I have 3 stories for you tonight. We'll start with what's happening in the United States. Google has been sued in the US by as many as 37 states. 37 American states and Washington, D.C. have together dragged Google to court. It is being accused of violating antitrust laws. What does that mean? Number one, Google is being accused of anti-competitive conduct in its Play Store. You know the Google Play Store that we have on our Android phones? American states say that the Play Store is anti-competitive. I'll explain. You see, Google puts misleading security warnings on Android phones. So when you try to download apps from outside the Play Store, your Android phone discourages you. You may get a notification saying that the app is dangerous, that it may have a virus, and so on. So a person mostly ends up downloading apps only from the Play Store. Why is this bad for you? Because it deprives you of choice, of better price range. A similar app could be cheaper outside the Play Store, but Google would discourage you from downloading it. And it's especially bad for app developers. They lose out on Android users. It's not fair competition. Here's another point from the lawsuit. It says that Google is forcing app developers to pay commission. Again, how? Suppose you've downloaded an app from Play Store. Now you want to buy paid content on this app. So what will Google do? It will force the app to use Google billing for the transaction. And that ensures that Google pockets a 30% commission on every purchase. Google also prevents most app developers from selling their product outside the Play Store. So it's my way or the highway. Google makes a fortune in the process. Everyone else loses out. And none of this is really surprising. We have been aware of big tech's monopoly for a while now. What's different this time is that governments are doing something about it. In this case, it's the governments in the US, Google's home country. What has been filed against Google is a bipartisan lawsuit, meaning parties from across the political divide have joined hands. The case will be heard by a judge named James Donato. He was appointed by Barack Obama. He has a history of not being lenient with Google, but that's not going to be enough. What these American states must do now is provide evidence, and hard evidence. Remember what happened with Facebook just a couple of weeks back. America's Federal Trade Commission had taken it to court. It had accused Facebook of being antitrust. But a federal judge could do nothing about it. Why? Because he said that the agency had failed to provide enough evidence to prove Facebook's monopoly. Will Google's fate be different? We don't know. Has Google responded to the news of this lawsuit? It has. Here is a blog post. It was published on the 7th of July. It says, and I'm quoting, "It's strange that a group of state attorneys general chose to file a lawsuit attacking a system that provides more openness and choice than others." This is a 7,100 plus character long blog. There's a lot of unnecessary data, a lot of technical jargon, all stitched together to help Google plead not guilty. But this is not the only case that Google is fighting. There is another lawsuit that has been filed against Google. Also named in it is Facebook. Any idea who's filed this suit? None other than former US President Donald Trump. Here's what he said.
We're asking the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida to order an immediate halt to social media companies' illegal, shameful censorship of the American people, and that's exactly what they are doing. We're demanding an end to the shadow banning, a stop to the silencing, and a stop to the blacklisting, banishing, and canceling that you know so well. Our case will prove this censorship is unlawful, it's unconstitutional, and it's completely un-American. We all know that. We all know that very, very well.
For a change, he's right. What big tech is doing is not only un-American, it is also un-Indian, un-European. It is, in short, anti-human rights. Antitrust authorities in the UK and Australia are already probing Google's monopoly. India too has come up with new IT regulations to tame tech giants. Yesterday, India appointed a new IT minister. His name is Ashwini Vaishnav. 51 years old, former bureaucrat, an IIT and Wharton graduate, he's been tasked with breaking the monopoly of big tech in India, of making the internet free and fair, and of getting Twitter to abide by India's new regulations that it has so openly been flouting for so long. Vaishnav was on the job within hours of taking office. The minister sent out a loud and clear message to Twitter. He said, and I quote, "Whoever is a citizen of India and those who stay in India will have to abide by the laws of the country." In compliance with the new IT rules, Twitter has finally appointed an interim compliance officer in India. Now, Indian law requires big tech to appoint a chief compliance officer, a nodal officer, and a grievance officer in the country, and all of them should be residents of India. After much resistance, Twitter may finally be complying. But these battles are far from over. You see, a new technology always enjoys the advantage of legal loopholes. What's new is often mostly unregulated. But the law, in fact, catches up sooner or later. It happened with nuclear arms, it happened with space programs, drones, and now it is also happening with the internet. It may have taken a good 2 decades for governments to understand the World Wide Web and its pitfalls, but now that they have, the end of big tech's reign and digital colonization should only be a matter of time. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.